Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter. I welcome you to yet another Stone Cold Hockey video to do with the 91-92 season. Our Chicago Blackhawks played through. We've played 61 games, one game below 500. Really, Detroit has been crushing the North Division, but we're ahead of Minnesota and Toronto and St. Louis in the North, so we're second. Minnesota and Toronto will be trying to fight to face off against us. Vancouver leading the Smythe Division pretty comfortably. Winnipeg and Calgary fighting for second place. Edmonton in fourth, 3 points out of the Swingilies. Montreal crushing it in the Adams. Boston, Buffalo, Hartford backwards. Quebec 10 points back. Rangers and Washington looking good in the Patrick division. Pittsburgh doing it. New Jersey and the Islanders fighting for that fourth and final place. Kevin Stevens and Brett Hull both have 51 goals. Vincent Del Puz almost has 50 goals. I mean, his first season leaving Toronto. Our boy JR, who's got 38 goals, he's sixth in the NHL in goals. Points wise, Kevin Stevens leads Stompoos with 94, 93 points for Dumpus. Gretzky with 84, but he has not that many games, I think. Don't know. Roenick is 15th in points with 70. And that's all. Penalty minutes now, we don't want to know. Patrick Waugh leads the goes against a 2-2-2. Mike Richter second, Bob Essens up third. Our own at Belfour eighth, Kirk McLean, Tim Shovelday, Stefan Beauregard, the guy he was traded to. I guess he was traded to Buffalo, and then he was traded to Chicago. And the whole deal that South Dominic Hasek boy. Saints wise, we've played 61 games. Hartford's only played 59. Montreal's played a lot, 64. Points percentage wise, which kind of does determine a lot of things. Hartford would be third ahead of Buffalo because they have 3 games in hand. Anyway, we have scored 186 goals, given up 183 goals of them. While only one game above 500 at home. On the road, we're not that great. Highlights wise, hat tricks, 48 of them. We have 13 games that hit the 30 mark for Fangraph. The top one is Islanders San Jose from November 9th, when the Sharks, who were 3 and 14 at the start, were up by 4 with goals by Fenton, Bozak, Link Jets, and Pavloon, but they gave up 8 of the last 10. Boston Edmonton from February 21st. It was a dogfight. Boston winning in overtime on Flighty Rusica's 35th. Yeah, it had 5 league changes. Edmonton, Vancouver, December 10th, a 7-6 score. Vancouver was up 5-2, but choked it to the oil drop. Washington Islanders, February 23rd, when the Islanders were up 5-2 and gave up 4 straight goals. Cicerelli, Bondra, and then overtime to Miller. So the Islanders couldn't believe their luck. Go back Washington from December 17th. Washington winning in overtime. And LA St. Louis for January 23rd. LA won. Good, I got that one right. Chicago and the Rangers battle the original 6 in New York. Mike Richter versus Jimmy Waite. Chicago going with a weird one with Waite. Not Hasher, but yeah. Mike Richter in net for the Rangers. They have John Van Beesbroek. Those two were basically the only guys to be there. It was a rotational system until Van Beesbroek went to Vancouver, then Florida, and then Richter was number 1. So anyway, Chicago. Wow, Ed Belfour, the main goalie. Dominic Hasek, as I said, he was traded to Buffalo for Stefan Beauregard. And then 2 years later, Hasek came out of his own. Jimmy Waite and the Ray LeBlanc, the U.S. Olympic goalie. We have JR scoring goals at will. Steve Larmer, 880 consecutive regular season games before a contract dispute ruined him. Michel Goulet from Quebec to Chicago with much fanfare. Brian Noodles Noonan, 94 Ranger alongside Larmer. Bryant Sutter, who we picked up for the Islanders. First time he played for a team not named the Islanders. Dirk Graham, the first black captain in Stanley Cup Finals history. Look up, people. Mike Hudson, another 94 Ranger. Chris Chelios, second year coming home to Chicago. He was born in Chicago, but was a Hab defenseman until he got traded to Chicago for Katie Savard. Steve Smith, the great defenseman for the Oilers, who won 3 Stanley Cups, but will always be chastised for being part of the 86 Oilers that lost to the Flames in the Smythe final when he made that own goal. Dave Manson was traded to Edmonton. Greg Gilbert, 94 Ranger. Jocelyn Lemieux. Keith Brown. Mike Peluso, the tough guy. Rob Brown, who we picked up for Steve Conroy. Brian Marchment. Goon, defenseman. Stefan Matteau, part of the 94 Rangers and the Folklore. Mike Stapleton. Frank Crucero. Dan Feslette. Igor Kravchuk and Tony Horacek. Oh, we lost John Tonelli. Who did we pick up? I guess we picked up. Did we pick up Rob Brown for Tonelli, or Tonelli just? They probably just traded Tonelli on a whim. I didn't know he left the Blackhawks. But anyway, the Rangers, Mike Gardner, 700 goal scorer, but he did not fit in Mike Keenan's system 2 years later. Well, Keenan would host the 94 Rangers, and many of them. Marc Booth Messier picked up before the 92 season started. Contract dispute with Edmonton, made big trade. Tony Amonte, 2 years later, would be traded to Chicago for Noodles and for Matteau. Sergei Namchinov, Darren Turcotte, Adam Graves, who was a late pickup from Edmonton. Brian Leach, 100-point scorer from Texas. John Ogrodnik, James Patrick, who went to Hartford in 93-94. Paul Brunning, Chris King, Doug Waite went to Edmonton. Jan Eriksson, a shadow. Tim Kerr, known for his power play goals. Randy Gilhan from Deutschland. I had him on the team one time. Joey Koser, the tough guy. Joe Sorella. Randy Moeller. Ty Domi. Per Jus, Jeff Bukaboom, Mark Hardy, and Rob Samner. 3 minutes into the game. Nothing. Much later. Can we take advantage? No. We can't. Much later. Oh, fuck. Aggression. They get aggressive. It's Graves. Take advantage? We do. Skill. Pepper Powerplay goal. What can Brown do for you? Rob Brown has 16 from Smith and Lama. Makes it 1-0. That's a better taunt. 3 minutes into the game. So Larmer penalty. Did they score? No. 4 minutes later. We score. Brand Sutter. His 23rd from JR and Smith. 2-0. Steve Smith looking good. Much later. Oh, man, we got a penalty. It's Peluso, of course. And Garniak from Nestle. The puck. Okay. Now, we have to go 10, 2, and 7 to tie a real-life record. 7 ties fully. You can't do that. Rangers will have to go 11 and 6. And it's 2-1. We go to the third period. 5 minutes into the period. They score. James Patrick. Score. And then 2-0 Turcotte. 5 minutes later. Score. He did it again. Brett Sutter from Larmer and Ronick makes it 3-2. Looks like we made the right move. Blackhawks penalty to Peluso. Oh. But Tim Kirk could not score on the power play. 3 minutes later, nothing. We're getting close to nothing up. Tim Kirk scores from Garner and Amonte. And no, there's no such thing as a loser point yet. And we tie. Frig. Well, we were up 2-0 and choked it. Nah, we didn't really choke it, but anyway, Jimmy Waite did okay, I guess. So we tied. Just as bad as a loss. Guess what that means in the grand annual things? If we lose or tie, we have to simulate the next game. Now, we have to play Detroit, though. It is an original 6 matchup. And the rule is, because it's the 75th anniversary of the NHL, the rule of thumb is that the Blackhawks will... Yeah, we will play every original 6 matchup. And of course, the next game, even if we win, the next one has a non-original 6 matchup, that will be simulated. We have to play Detroit because it's the 75th anniversary. And it's Eddie the Eagle against Shovel Day. Detroit knowing he's good. Greg Millen, the backup RAP, Greg Millen. Vincent Riando, the first North American to play in the Russian Super League, which soon become the KHL. Ellen Besser and Scott King. The Red Wings having Stevie Wyatt, center and captain. Ray Shepard, who was bought out for $1 on waivers from Buffalo, and famously his GM saw that his rookie card was $2 and said, I'm not paying more for this card than I did the player. Paul Yzerberg, Jimmy Carson, the malcontent, after leaving LA to Edmonton for the Wayne Gretzky deal. He forced away to Detroit in exchange for Joe Murphy, among others, and Klima. That's right. Got it back together. Sergei Fedorov, his sophomore season. Kevin Miller, Bob Probert, another heavyweight bruiser. Sean Burr, Gerard Gallant, known for his 10 years with Vegas and New York. Great rookie seasons, terrible afterwards. Nick Lidstrom, this was his inaugural season in the NHL from Sweden. Steve Chason, who died 7 years later in a car accident. Vladdy Konstantinov, this was his rookie campaign coming over from the Soviet Union. Brian McCrimmon, who would die in the Soviet Union, aka Russia, in 2011 as part of the Lokomotiv Yaroslav crash. Keith Primo, decent guy. Brad Fedek, Alan Kerr, Sheldon Kennedy, whose story about the abuse he suffered in minor hockey will hurt you. Brad Marsh, Bobby Dulles, Yves Racine, Brian McLellan, Johan Karpanoff, Doug Crossman, and Slava Kolosov, a young Slava Kolosov. We're red. Remember, 2 minutes later. We are red die. 2 minutes. They have a chance. No. 4 minutes later. Aggression? Leads to a chance for them? No. 4 minutes later. Aggression. Maybe you get aggressive. It's Larmer. But we killed the zone on them. Another people panel with Chase on. You have a chance? No. So no score after 20 minutes. They have to go 5, 9, and 4 to match their early days. Noodles. Noonan, his 19th from Chelios. 5 minutes later. If ever I should leave you, it would be summer. He's not Robert Goulet. He's Michel Goulet, his 20th from Chelios. 3 minutes later. 2 minutes later. They score. Jimmy Carson, his 24th from Fedek and Shepard, makes it 2-1. Aggression? And they get aggressive. It's McCrimmon. Papa Papa goes. Those dirt grams. Oh, those golden grams. Crispy, crunchy, graham cereal. Such a great breakfast treat. His 15 from Roenick and Brent Sutter. 1 minute later. Can't? Oh, I'll try to make it 4, but we can't. Much later. Can't? Rob Brown was trying to make it 4 and probably put Chevrolet out for like Scott King or whatever his name is. Yeah, Scott King. 3 minutes later. It's a llama. Ooh! His 23rd from Roenick and Goulet. 4-1. 1 more minute. Closer? Nothing dangerous. 1 more minute. Konstantinov gets rattled. Really? 3 minutes later. Oh, he's rattled. Get him. Yay! Michel Goulet punches second on that. And Roenick and Brown make it 5-1. 9 good. Rattle his cage. 5 minutes later. It's not going to mean anything. A fight between Colbert and Hornacek. It doesn't matter. We win 5-1. Man, Detroit is like, we're running away, but Chicago's giving us headaches. I think we did. Noonan, Goulet, Graham, Larmer, Goulet. We have been giving Detroit headaches all season. I think we're like, 4-1 against those guys? Let's see. Win against Detroit. Win, loss. Loss 3-2, 4-2. 4-2 against Detroit. We have a home with them, but we're 4-2 against those guys. Yeah, so we're 4-2 against those guys. Pretty good, huh? We've been giving Detroit fits all summer long. Oh yeah, this is an Olympics year, so that means we have games on Leap Day. Oh, and we're in Toronto, so yeah, we still have to do the one thing of penance. Oh, it's Saturday. You know that, dudes. Do 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 do. Jimmy Wade's in our net. Do 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 do. Cranford's in their net. Do 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 do. We're 27, 27, 9, 20, 36, 7. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Will we catch fire and keep second place in this division? Yeah. Anyway, so Jimmy Wade in net for Chicago in Toronto against Grant Fuhr. I think King Felix was in net for Toronto for this game because Jeremy Roenick scored late in the season on the pretzel goal that put Potten in a pretzel. Grant Fuhr picked up from the Leafs in a major move. Edmonton couldn't keep Ranford and Fuhr, so they sent Fuhr to Toronto for Peter Ing. What a goalie! Rick Wamsley, the new backup for the Leafs after Jeff Reese leaves for Calgary. King Felix getting some games. Toronto has Glenn Anderson, also in that 7-player deal from Edmonton to Toronto. Wendell Clark, well, Anderson technically for Dumpas. Wendell Clark, the heart and soul, named captain after Rob Ramage left for Minnesota. And, he was too injury prone. Dave Ellett, big nugget steal from Winnipeg, even though it cost us at Oldchuk. Peter Cecil, yes, I'm a Leaf fan, obviously. Peter Cecil, Dougie Gilmour, big move from Calgary in that 10-player deal. Toronto was involved in 2 deals worth 17 players. That's amazing. Yeah, Dougie Gilmour was moved over. So yeah, Doug Gilmour doing his job. That Toronto making that 10-player deal. That Wamsley came over for Reese in a sense. Daniel Marowall, decent player. Mike Bullard trying to get a comeback, but not so much. Rob Pearson, Brian Bradley, Kitchener. Yeah, Brian Bradley was great for the Leafs and for Kitchener Rangers. So good that Tampa picked them up in the expansion draft. Mike Krusheletsky still around. Mike, Guy LaRose, Lucien Doublebois. Hey, Lucien. Hey, Michael. Joe Sacco, future Boston head coach. Gary Leeman was sent to Calgary for Gilmore. It was going to be a 1-for-1 deal, but it ballooned. Leaving Mike Foligno around, Craig Berube sent to Calgary, Rob Sameta, Bob Rouse, Jamie McCallum sent from Calgary to Toronto. Alex Guduniak is not supposed to be that way. He's supposed to have the flash because Guduniak played for Calgary, did he not? Todd Gill, Rick Natras came over from Calgary, and Daryl Shannon. Michel Petit was sent to Calgary. Early on, we're doing a hit, and here's Gilmore. 4 minutes later. Okay, and Dave Ellett puts in the net from no one forward. Dave Ellett scores goal after describing it. 1 minute later. We're rattled. Fortunately, he makes the save. 5 minutes later. No. 5 more minutes. And Keith Brown had a chance to score, but he didn't. 1-0 T-Dot. 4 minutes into the game, we score. Noodles Noonan, his 20 up from Horacek and Roenick were tied. 4 minutes later. Damn it, penalty on Noodles. And Bullard, his 18 from Alex Goodwin. 4 minutes later, Keskiers. Honey Nut Cheerios. His 6 from Brown and Graham. 4 minutes later. Hit. And we tie 2-2 after 2. All those 2s on the board. Well, we have 2-7 for wins, 2-7 for losses. They have 2-0 for wins, Toronto. 2 minutes in the beginning. Penalty. 2 more minutes. Fuck. Right. 5 minutes later, it's Steve Smith and Todd Gill. Tough fight. Both defensemen gone. No. Much later. Toronto forward for 2. Can we take advantage? We sure do. Skier Brand Sutter is 25th from Smith and Larmer. Chance to make it 4. Damn. Empty deck. Skier game set match. Brent Sutter from Ronick and Horacek. Man, 2 points by Tony Horacek in the same match. The world's ending. And we win 4-2. And T Dot's like, we're gonna win. Nope. Brent Sutter 2 goals in the third. So Sunday we're in Buffalo. We're supposed to simulate because we're supposed to simulate 1 non-originals matchup. And we beat Buffalo 5-1 in Buffalo. Dominic Hasek played in Buffalo against Tom Draper. He should familiarize with that undersized Buffalo auditorium. Pelo Fontaine scored for them, but Ronick Larmer Peluso, Ronick got his 40th goal in Noonan. So 4-1. So that means the next game we do, Toronto hosting on a Sunday night, and they win 3-1 over Minnesota. Kind of doing us a favor. Although I don't see us a favor. And we are in New York. Tea, coffee, monster. Wednesday night hockey, nope. Toronto has to go out west. We host the Cupcakes. And Steve Thomas is coming back to town. So is Adam Creighton. So he hosts the Islanders. We have 67 points. They have 86. Detroit does. Minnesota and Toronto and even St. Louis are fighting for third place and probably have to face us. We have played 65. We have 15 games left, right? Yeah, we have 15 games left. We're 19 points back of Detroit. Vancouver looking pretty good in the Smythe division. Winnipeg and Calgary fighting tooth and nail. They'll probably be facing each other in the first round. Edmonton leading LA by 5 points. San Jose's got 31 points. They're way back. Their second worst team is St. Louis. Montreal crushing it in the Adams, 43 wins. Boston not so well. Buffalo and Hartford are fighting for third. Quebec's only 9 back. Rangers and Washington looking pretty good in the Patrick division. Pittsburgh third. New Jersey pulling away from the Islanders for fourth and Philly fifth. Brett Hall 55 goals. Kevin Stevens 52. Dumpus 50. Ronick's got 40. He's behind Roberts, Mullen, and Tony Granato. Waugh, Richter, and Beauregard are the 3 best goals against. Belfour's 8th. Assensa's 5th. Shovelday 6th, and John Van Beesbrook 7th. Well, we kind of ruined Shovelday, but he's got 4 shutouts. Well, it's got 6. So, anything can happen. Anyway, what I'm going to do.